So we've talked about what work isn't, and we've talked about what it is. But now that we know a little bit more about what it is, what we really want to talk about here is how to use it in creating an advantage for you by using what work is and using it for your good. And it's much like a tool that once you have the tool, it's helpful to know what the tool is built for. That way you can use the tool for that purpose and fix things, improve things. The most important thing that you're doing with your work is you're adding value. That's all you're doing is you're adding value. But it's a powerful idea, adding value. Because as we think about getting paid to do something, and maybe I'm in the nonprofit world, and you go, there's value to the world for what you're doing in the mission that you have. And there's value to the donors that want to be a part of giving to see that mission accomplished. So you're out there to connect this, to add value to the world, and to allow people in their generosity to join you on the mission that you have. So you're adding value. If you're in the business world and you have clients, or you're providing a service or a product, you are adding a service that solves a problem or that enhances an experience. The scarcity mindset would say, I do music, but what more songs are there to be written? How many songs have been written in this world, and what are the chances of me needing to write another song? Or you've got a book in mind, but how many books have already been written? Do we need another book on that topic, or another love story or whatever? We can think about the world as that everything's already been done. But I would submit to you that there's a lot more to be accomplished, and that there's a lot more to be accomplished in your life with the kind of work and the value that you can bring to the world around us. And it doesn't have to be to the world at large. It could be to your neighbor. It could be to people, a small group within your city that could provide meaningful work for them that they need, that makes their life better in some way. But there's more to be done, and it's an abundant mentality that says there is value for me to add in the world, and everything that is yet to be accomplished and created has not been accomplished or created yet. And I get to play a part and a role in making sure that that happens. So I want to challenge you to have that shift from everything's already been done to there's so much more to be created, and that I get to play a part in that. And that's the abundant mentality, because I think that's the reality. That is the reality. I love it when Steve Jobs says that the world around us, if it's not created by God, then the world around us has been created by a man or a woman, like cities and neighborhoods and stores. And he wasn't very happy with the branding of Microsoft, and he wanted to do something much more beautiful, right? And so he set out to do things in his own way, and what he said, to make a dent in the universe. I remember working in a restaurant, and there were kind of two perspectives. Much like the scarcity and abundance, there's kind of a big shift that I would just say to you is foundational in your approach to work. One is someone gets paid X. Let's say starting out years ago, someone was getting paid $10 an hour. And they kind of do the work of $7 an hour, right? And if you're beside them, you think, that's not fair. They're only doing $7 worth of work, and they're getting paid $10 an hour. They're kind of making a profit off of the company because they're not really doing all the work that's required. And so you could say, that's not fair, right? And the other perspective is to say, I get paid $10 an hour, and I'm going to deliver $13 or $14 or $15 an hour of value in the work that I do. So I think one of them can be short-sighted. I'm just going to get paid more than the work I'm going to do. And the other is more of a long-term value. And it's a way that will really make a huge difference in your life and in the work that you do, with a simple perspective, again connected to value, that I am always going to try to add more value than I'm getting paid in the work that I do. And it'll actually provide more joy. Because I think if you have that experience of enjoying adding more value in the work that you do for your team, for your boss, for your clients. You're going to see the reflections of gratitude, not always, but I think a lot of times you'll see the respect and the appreciation for the work that you do, and you're also going to get more opportunities, and you're also challenging yourself in your work to learn more, to grow more. In order to add more value that way, you have to be more aware of what is important, of what is valuable to the client, to your team, to your company, to the world at large, and the good that you're providing. So seeking out value actually, I think, also connects to you being more of a learner and more of a growth-oriented person. And along the way of work, you're going to be learning those tools. You're going to be developing a better toolbox, and you're just going to be building better habits that are going to provide value to you over the course of the jobs that you're doing and the career that you have. So I want to share with you 3 principles that you can use in the work that you do. Number 1, I want you to continue to add value, bring value, and deliver value. And I want you to think about and reflect on times, maybe even recently, or maybe something significant in the last year or two, where you added value above and beyond. Also reflect in your current role. What is valuable about the work that I do? If I'm a part of a team, what is the value that I bring? And how can I enhance that value to the team? Or how can I enhance that value to the clients that I serve today? The second principle is do the next role. And this is a huge one. I think when you think about the job ahead, and let's just say that you're on a team, and maybe here's where you are. And I put boss, but maybe that's just what's next. What are the aspects of that next role that you want to learn how to do better, right? What are the key items? What are the key skills? What are the abilities that maybe the person you're working for, or maybe just that next role, maybe even it's sideways role that you want, or it's a role in another organization, but what are the aspects of that role that you want to be able to do in order to take that next step for yourself in your career? Explore that. What are 1, 2, or 3 things that you can go ahead and identify right now so that you can grab a hold of them and work towards them? The mentality I would propose should be to do the next role before you get the title, to do the next role before you get the compensation. And even for the people that you work for, when you're able to step in and do aspects of the job that your boss has, you're essentially doing that next role. Some people that will want to do it one time and go, hey, I'm ready to get that promotion, versus somebody that's able to prove that they can do it over and over and over again. And then in that process, better develop the muscles and the skills and the tools and the skills to be able to competently and confidently do that next role. Obviously, we want to be careful that sometimes people may be taken advantage of. Maybe people have been doing that next role for years and years and years. So that, like I said, this isn't a guarantee of it being perfect, but I would submit to you that it's something that will work out consistently, and it'll work out over time. The third principle would be willing to be a beginner again. This is such a huge one. As I've been talking about work, this is one that I've heard from many different people in different stages of life. It may be an athlete that had a career in the NFL, Major League, NBA, and now is moving on to something else. But the thing that they've been doing for the last 20 to 25 to 30 years is no longer what they're going to be doing going forward. So, or it may be a mom that has now, for a period of time, been out of the official workforce, working very hard, raising kids, and now is re-entering the workforce in a different way. Or it may be someone that is retiring, and now they're shifting gears and starting to do something in a different way than they ever have before. But it could also be much simpler or nuanced than that. It could be in your current role or in your current company, there are aspects of your job or of a new technology or of a way that your job is changing that you need to kind of dig back in. You kind of need to put where you thought you were and what you thought you were above or beyond on the shelf for just a second. Check that ego and kind of go, no, I need to be willing to learn. I need to have that growth mindset. I need to be able to have that learner mindset and begin again. And sometimes we need to go back so that we can go forwards. And it may not actually be back, but in the world's perspective sometimes, or maybe even for you, it may feel that way. But the power of being able to begin again for the purpose of going into a new direction and going further in that direction can be a really powerful concept. There's a friend of mine that was leading a camp, a very popular camp in the Southeast. And at the same time, he was getting his master's in data visualization. And he was implying this principle. He went back to school, right? He went back to college, much later in life in order to learn a new skill so that he could go in a new direction. But just be willing to kind of be a beginner again, be willing to learn, be willing to create an ongoing humility of being able to do what you need to do so that you can go where you want to go. To summarize then this section, I want you to we've already talked about some of these questions, but make sure that you've got them captured. How are you adding value in your current roles? And how can you enhance and add more value in that role? What are the ways that you can add value in the role that you want to be in next? Maybe what's that next role? What are 2 or 3 of those steps or that skill that you need to learn that you can grab a hold of? I want you to write that down, take note of that, and capture that. The third thing would be, what could it mean? What this idea of being a beginner again, what could that mean for me or for you? What is it that maybe you're resistant to because you honestly hoped you were past that? You honestly didn't want to go back and learn that? Where are you feeling that resistance in your current role right now? In a big way or in a small way? Or maybe you've just shifted out of a significant role of your life or a season. You've changed jobs, you've changed roles, something's significantly new, and you're establishing a new path for yourself and you need to begin again. And maybe there's some resistance that I want to do that thing, but it would mean going back to school. Or I want to do that thing, but it would mean going and being an intern or an apprenticeship, or spending extra time on the nights and the weekends to learn that new skill or craft. What might that be for you? How might the idea of being a beginner again apply for you? So, you have an advantage. Understanding your value is going to help you maximize that advantage. But here's the beautiful part about it. When you add value, you're creating more value in the world. When you add more value to your advantage, doesn't mean that you're taking something away from someone else. There is more to be created than we could ever imagine. And we need more people creating more good things so that the music that I'm listening to in my car, I have more options of the things that I love. And maybe you're the one to help do that.